Anyway, thank you so much for being here for the day one of the Digital Inclusion Forum. This event has been going round, and today is the turn for Ghana to have discussions around digital rights and inclusion. We are hoping that at the end of these 2 days, we would have something to go home with. So once again, thank you so much for coming, especially being a Monday and early in the morning. You've done well. Let's clap for ourselves. Let's give it up. Yes, yes, yes. Great. So we are going to take 2 anthems. Yeah, because we are loyal and faithful. So we are going to take the AU anthem, and after that, we are going to take the Ghana anthem. Right. So, I mean, feel free to be seated or. Oh, okay. So we can please rise up and take our anthem. So we just take it right after the other, the AU first and the national anthem second. Thank you. Thank you very much. We may now take our seat. At this time, we would like to invite some special guests to give us remarks. I would also want to acknowledge the presence of the media. Thank you so much for being here. And other dignitaries as well. As time goes on, I would take turns to acknowledge everyone. Now, I would like, this program is organized by Paradigm Initiative in partnership with Internet Society and Inclusive Tech. And I would want to invite a rep from Paradigm Initiative to give us a remark. She's in the person of Miss Nena. Currently, she's the Chief Operating Officer at Paradigm Initiative. She's passionate about the holistic development of the youth in Africa, and she works on several initiatives that promote the mental, the physical, the social, and economic well-being among vulnerable groups in the society. Apart from her work that she does at Paradigm Initiative, she mentors group of youth in technology. She spearheaded training programs that are dedicated to under-reserved youth. She's also into mentoring adults to curb issues of sexual abuse among children. Now, at Paradigm Initiative, officially, she oversees administrative work, strategy development, program delivery, policy making, financial management, among other things, to ensure the sustainability of the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, let's welcome Ms. Nena.
Thank you so much. Good morning, distinguished guests and partners, or should I say good morning, sons and daughters of Africa. That was a very inspiring anthem. It's great to learn the words or the lyrics today. Thank you all for being here with us today. As Theo said, at day one of DRIF 22 Ghana, which is the Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum. How many of us are attending DRIF for the first time? Okay, roughly half. So I think we have some DRIF champions in the audience, so I'm happy about that. How many of us attended the virtual sessions, the opening? Okay, 4 people. So up Ghana, 5. That's really great. Thank you so much. So at Paradigm Initiative, over the past 15 years, we have worked to deepen inclusion and rights on the continent through capacity building, advocacy, research, community action, and strategic engagement towards effecting policy change to promote digital empowerment and to protect the rights of African citizens online. We have done this in collaboration with other CSOs, international bodies, government agencies, the media, academia, communities, corporations, and other relevant stakeholders, of course, with the valued support of our funding partners. Originally called the Internet Freedom Forum until 2019, this is the 9th edition of the Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum. DRIF is an annual forum that provides a platform for actors in the African digital space to proactively engage and discuss the state of affairs, debate policy directions, and coalesce around actions to effect necessary change. If nothing else, the COVID-19 pandemic has proved that the internet is a necessity and not a luxury or privilege to be enjoyed by some. The gaps, abuses, and violations we witnessed and experienced all enforce that the issues of the digital era need to be viewed holistically and not just from the single lens of social, economic, political, cultural, educational, or other use. These are the issues we dissect and engage with at DRIF. Issues of access, empowerment, affordability, gender rights, disability rights, freedom of expression, access to information, and so on and so on. What started out as a gathering of less than 20 like-minded individuals to engage on policies that affect rights online has metamorphosed into a movement of hundreds of individuals and organizations alike. I say movements because with each year, we witness the building and gathering of communities of practice increasingly galvanized into intentional communities of action around local contexts. Towards a digitally inclusive and rights respecting Africa is the overarching theme for DRIF 22. but I cannot emphasize enough how necessary and important the two-day agenda of DRIF 22 Ghana is, rights and inclusion in the era of digitalization. It is a direct build on the keynote address by Commissioner Lawrence Muté at the opening ceremony, which is a great anchor for all the DRIF sessions we have this year. Every African has the right to a useful and safe online experience, irrespective of nationality, creed, gender, ability, or as I put in quotes, status. And this can only be achieved if the rights guaranteed offline are guaranteed online. As long as one is left behind, the work is not done. Over these 2 days, we have the opportunity to examine the cross-cutting issues of inclusion, access, disability rights, data protection and privacy, and the digital divide in the local landscape of Ghana, as well as forge action toward the collective goal. Because as much as we celebrate strides such as growing internet penetration and the deployment of digital technology, we also need to examine the impact on our daily lives as we mark increases in digital violations and exploitation under the guise of digital advancement or the application of digital technology, and the widening gap due to technologies and policies that do not take everyone, especially the underserved and vulnerable populations, into consideration. How can we truly promote a safe and meaningful internet for all if we don't learn our unique needs? If we do not focus on all the issues equally? What can we do as a community of action in this room, in the Ghanaian context, to ensure the development of affirming digital policies? This is why we are here today. Sharing our lived realities and the lessons from our work have an enormous impact on shaping actions and achieving results. Our goal is the same, and I look forward to us exchanging learnings and lessons, consolidating our strengths, and working towards sustainable action. Individually, we cannot achieve a fraction of what we can when we work together. So thank you to our partners, Internet Society Ghana and Inclusive Tech, for partnering with us to organize DRIF Ghana 22. We're very grateful for your partnership. And a huge thank you to all the speakers that are here present, those that are yet to join us and those that will be here tomorrow. Thank you for making the time to come and share with us. And to everyone participating here and online, thank you again for being with us. On behalf of the entire team at Paradigm Initiative, let me shout them out. I'm here with the Programs and Community Officer, Amina. Thank you, dear colleagues, for your work. Your work is so worth it, and your work is very much appreciated. So on behalf of all of us at Paradigm Initiative and the organizing partners, we welcome you to DRIF 22. I also enjoin and welcome you, like Zero said earlier. Ghana is one of the stops on the DRIF tour for this year. We have more than 10 countries to go. You can follow these sessions online, and information about them is available at drif.paradigmhq.org, or you can just follow us at Twitter and you'll receive timely information on each session. So thank you again for being here. We're going to be launching at the end of DRIF, the last session in Kenya. We'll be launching our annual Digital Rights in Africa and Inclusion in Africa report. It's called Londa. We'll be launching the report for 2021 at the closing event. So it will be great to have all of you here. So yeah, it's fantastic to be here with you all. Looking forward to an enriching and productive session with everyone. Akwaba.
Thank you so much. Right, so yeah, as she said, we cannot do it alone. And of course, she cannot give the open remarks alone. So I'm going to invite our next speaker to give us a remark. She is in the person of engineer Dr. Mrs. Millicent Agagaba. I'm so sorry if I maffiaed your surname, but I don't do well with last names. So now I promise I'll stick with just the first name. She's a professional licensed engineer, computer scientist, and a lecturer at the University of Mines and Technology, Takwa. She's also the Executive Director, Inclusive Tech Group, which is a not-for-profit organization advancing digital accessibility for persons with disability. She holds a PhD in Information Studies from the University of Cape Town and a Master's of Science degree in Computer Science from TEF State Technical University in Russia Federation. Her current research interest is in digital accessibility, ICT policy implementation, web and mobile technologies, and information and communication technology for development. Millicent is a reviewer of several international journals and conferences. In fact, she has won several awards from international organizations, including LEO, UNESCO for Women in Science Sub-Saharan Africa. She's a senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. She's a member of the Association of Computing Machineries, Association of Information System, International Association for Engineers, and of course, she's a firm member of the Internet Society Ghana chapter. Without much ado, let's welcome Dr. Millicent. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiros, and good morning to everyone. I just want to stand in the protocol that was set already and welcome all of you to DRIF 2022, which is under the theme towards digitally inclusive and right respecting Africa. So here in Ghana, we also have our sub-theme where we're talking about rights and inclusion in the era of digitalization. So we know as a country, we are very busy channeling the agenda of digitalizing our services and information. And if for nothing, I think COVID-19 taught us a good lesson. The emergence of COVID-19, we saw a very high increase in ICTs in government and in the private sector. So there is the need for us to think about the disparity in the ICT haves and have-nots to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind. So at Inclusive Tech, we have been engaged with a mission of trying to develop, enhance, and advocate for affordable and accessible digital technologies for the well-being of persons with disability as well as other vulnerable groups. And we just envision a more inclusive society where the structures exist for full participation and utilization of vulnerable groups in the digital space. And specifically, we want to see that persons with disability have equal participation in everything that we do in the digital space. So I always give this analogy that when we putting up a building, we want to have a ramp and we want to make sure that we are incorporating accessibility. So because we are thinking of everybody being able to use the building. Now, when we come to the digital space, we should also think about it. How can everybody use what is online? And that is very important for us at Inclusive Tech. And so we don't have to make assumptions. So we designers, and being a computer scientist, I'm talking from experience, we don't have any prior knowledge. We sit and then we design as though everybody has two eyes and has ears to hear and two hands and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, we end up cutting out a lot of people who are not able to access content online. Also, as we are busy pushing our agenda of trying to digitalize everything around us, we have to remember people who are in certain spaces where they don't have access to the ICT, or even they don't have the capacity, to use such tools, because it's only when we adopt and adapt technologies that we can harness the full benefits. And so it becomes a challenge. So the discussion that we having these 2 days is very important. We need to look at where we are now. We need to brainstorm solutions, and we need to move ahead and perhaps begin to walk the talk, trying to bridge that gap of the digital divide for everybody to have equal access. So we at Inclusive Tech, we always say there is a need for inclusion, which is one of our core values, empathy, rights-based approach, and also always innovating to make sure that everybody is a citizen and we don't have class citizens, all right? So we are all going to have equal access to information, even in the digital era. So I'm hoping that these 2 days will help us to come up with ideas and set certain boundaries that can help to walk the talk in our small space. If you are designing, whenever you are working, if you are a private company, you have employed persons with disability, you can empower them with the needed technologies that they can use to make sure they are productive. It's a rural folk or people in the rural communities. We think about how we can empower them to make sure that they can also use ICT and be connected to the digital space, which is very important. So I'm hoping we have a fruitful discussion, and at the end, we are going to win together because definitely everybody has to have an equal right in the digital space. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much, Dr. Millicent. Before we take our keynote address, I just would like to inform everyone, in case you want to use the washroom, when you step out of the door, where the foyer is, just on your right, the washrooms are there. So you can do that as well. And there are notebooks and pens on the chair. They are all for you. So feel free to do that. Our keynote speaker is in the person of Professor Ninaku. In fact, he has a lot to be said about him. I mean, if I start today, definitely I will not finish, really. So I will try as much as possible to summarize it. But the important thing here is the knowledge that he had impacted and he would be impacting in us today. Professor Koino is the pioneer for internet development and expansion throughout Africa for nearly 2 decades. He established some of Africa's first internet connection and helping set up key organizations, including African Network Operation Group. He was the founding chair of AFRINIC, the African Internet Numbers Registry, and also the chairman of the Internet Society Ghana chapter. I mean, as I said, this is just a little about what he has done and he's still doing. But I mean, personally, I know about ISOC because of him. And anytime I read about him and the work he has done and the level of knowledge he has, it's been my dream to ask him to see if he can, I mean, give me some of his knowledge whilst time goes on. But ladies and gentlemen, please, let's welcome Professor Ninaku, our keynote speaker for today.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I have not planned to speak for long, but I'll try and say a few words, which I hope might be helpful in your discussions. In a way, it's as though I created the problem, ladies and gentlemen. The reason I'm saying this is that at the time when we were in the liberation struggle, trying to get internet to come to the region, we saw it as trying to create inclusion, trying to give rights to those of us who are in the underdeveloped parts of the world. And you may never understand the struggle we went through to get internet here in 93. Nobody wanted to show us anything. We had to go there, learn it, come and share it. And that is why you keep hearing about all the different organizations that I appear to have influenced in their formation. So I am bewildered when I begin to see divisions forming, when I begin to see the dominance of the top-down emerging, when we went through a real struggle to make sure that we all had a piece of something we thought was going to free us from the shackles of these new colonial approaches to development. Anyway, it's always been a pleasure to see engagement as you're doing with community. And organizers for pushing whatever challenges they may have. I've always felt that the best way for society to overcome its barriers, technical or otherwise, is through democratizing access and retention of such knowledge in communities with matching interests. Hence, it's good to see efforts for further community engagement. The particular theme towards digitally inclusive and rights respect in Africa is of special interest to me as you are reaching out to persons with disabilities, and thanks to Paradigm Initiatives for the collaboration which has brought this to the fore. It might interest you to know that my own son is autistic, and I'm thrilled to see Internet Society addressing how best to include persons with disability. My son, Note, is the principal actor at the Autism Awareness, Care and Training, that's ACT Center in Hacho. It was because we recognized that he was autistic, we began to build something around him so that he could have a somewhat normal life. So persons with disabilities deserve our advocacy to raise support to address their unique needs, especially with respect to access to ICT. They have digital rights, much like we do, and quite often their privacy and data protection rights are easily abused, as they may have handicaps in communicating. Invariably, some of these persons are unable to demand their rights as we can. But with caregivers familiar with their challenges, they can help a great deal. In this regards, volunteers such as ourselves in assisting people with disability is a great contribution. And I urge you all to volunteer time to do some of these things. These interventions will help Internet Society attain its objective of a more inclusive internet for all. An important piece of the puzzle is how we work, which is through our bottom-up community decision-making processes. Sometimes we confuse these bottom-up decision-making processes to top-down consultation. No. If you've already made up your mind and you're going to consult, then that's top-down. But when you know only the problem, even barely can define the problem, that is when we want the community to work together to precise the problem, and then also work together to define what policy resolutions may be required. In other words, we want community decision-making as opposed to commenting on somebody else's decision made maybe because they talked to somebody in the bathroom. We don't want that. We want all of us to sit here from different disciplines, because this area, you touch one piece, it will pop a different piece. You touch a legal issue, it will generate a technical problem. You touch a technical problem, it generates an impact, social impact problem. Okay? You do social things, it begins to create havoc for the safety on the net, and so on and so forth. So we must all sit together, and we must discuss together as equal stakeholders in the process of the decision making. And quite often I see us push those things aside, and it only weakens our momentum to achieve the objective of internet for all. Anyway, I'd like to wish you all a successful workshop, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Prof. You know, I told you he would do justice to it. Even seeing short is really a lot. I pick a lot of things from there. The fact that we need to work together, the fact that in fact we need to encourage more inclusivity and all that. That's good. Thank you so much, Prof. I mean, we are in the midst of our discussion. We have 2 panel sessions coming up, but we would take our first coffee break. At least we relax, socialize, you know, chat around for just 30 minutes. We are keeping to time. We are not, you know, going beyond just 30 minutes. But we will take a group photo with Prof before we do that. So let's all move to this side on my left to just take a group photo. And after that, we go in for our coffee break. Thank you.